Welcome to Techstination. We're with Matt Frazer with Panasonic, Manager of Business Development. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And here at PhotoPlus Expo, you've got a neat new camera in your hands.
Yeah, it's been a highly anticipated camera. About 5 years ago, we launched a camera called the LX100, which used a micro four thirds sensor. That's twice as big as what's in most of the high-end point and shoots, and 8 times bigger than what's in your smartphone. So it's a nice big sensor. It can give you a nice shallow depth of field. We partner it with a 24 to 75 millimeter lens. That's a f1.8 at the wide angle, f2.8 at the telephoto. So it's a nice bright lens with a big sensor. We give you an electronic viewfinder with an electronic LCD screen. And then it has lots of tactile manual controls. So you have a manual aperture ring, and if we listen, you can even hear it clicking out there. That's where its D10 points are for setting your aperture. It has an actual focus ring. It has even the ability with a switch to be able to change aspect ratios, manual focus. It even has your shutter speed wheel and exposure wheel. It's a throwback to an older era of photography when we spent more time thinking about our settings before we took our photo. And that's what made the LX100 so popular. Great photo quality with a nice retro look. The problem is that the LX100 sort of fell behind a little bit because people like to have touchscreen interfaces on their cameras. And so we've added the touchscreen interface to the LX100 Mark II. The LX100 was also it gave you about a 10 megapixel image. This camera now is giving you a 16 megapixel image. So you're getting substantially increase in resolution. So it's taking all the great elements of the LX100 and then modernizing them for our cameras today.
Who's it intended for primarily? Is there a market that you're aiming this at?
So we do a lot of business with street photographers because of its compact size and the focal length that it offers. Also a lot of people who just want a very high quality camera. So we do a lot with people who own a full frame camera. They shoot with a 24 to 70 and they just want a much smaller camera body and they don't want to sacrifice a lot of photo quality. And then for anybody who wants 4K video, they love this camera because it does do 4K video as well.
Very cool. Now, of course, Panasonic is known for its line of terrific micro four thirds cameras with interchangeable lenses, and you've got a new lens to talk about too in that category.
Yeah, it's a beast. I'm really excited for this one. So it covers a focal length of 10 millimeters to 25. So on a micro four thirds, that'd be the equivalent of a 20 to 50. And it's f1.7 through the entire focal range. So it's currently, to our knowledge, the brightest zoom lens on the market right now.
When is that coming out?
So we don't have an official date. We know it'll be out sometime in 2019.
And it'll be, I guess, in the hands of a lot of photographers who are using micro four thirds.
Well, it's interesting. I think a lot of photographers are going to find that focal length very appealing, and especially that aperture. It gives a very similar depth of field look to a 24 to 70 f2.8 on a full frame camera. So I call it a full frame look lens. But I think a lot of video shooters are going to also find it to be a very appealing focal length, especially since the aperture doesn't change as you zoom and because it's so bright. So it's going to be a really good lens that's going to have broad appeal among both professional photographers, consumer photographers, but also professional consumer video shooters as well.
Yeah, and you've become quite popular with them with some of your cameros.
Yeah, GH series has been a big part of why we're so popular with those video shooters. And then cameras like the G9, which are more photo focused, also fill in the void for the professional photo shooters.
And while you've made such a great name with micro four thirds, you're stepping out a little bit. You've announced plans for a full frame camera.
Yeah, so Panasonic makes currently 3 professional grade micro four thirds bodies. You have the G9, which is photo focused. You have the GH5S, which is very video focused. And then you have the GH5, which is hybrid focused, equal parts professional photo and professional video. We were amazed at how many people were drawn to our brand for professional work, even though micro four thirds was never set out to be a professional camera. But so many pros found use for it that we've developed all these great pro features, fast burst rates, amazing autofocus systems, great video functionality. We realized that there's a niche and a need in the full frame market for the feature sets that Panasonic has developed over the years. Now, we're not promising every feature that's in a G series camera because we've only announced certain things for our full frame. But the S series has already announced some of the most popular features from the GH series of cameras. So you're going to get things like 4K 60p video in a full frame camera, which to my knowledge is the first one to ever offer it in a full frame, SLR or mirrorless style camera. We're going to give you two bodies, one a 47 megapixel, one a 24 megapixel. We've announced our dual IS system will be included. That's our in-body 5-axis system that also works in tandem with the in-lens system. That's the system that DP Review has said is the most effective image stabilizer on the planet with their G9 review. So we fully expect that it's going to be a very high quality stabilization in the full frame product as well.
Any thoughts about when we can look for it?
Sometime in the spring. I'm hoping early spring, but obviously things can change a little bit, but the assumption is sometime in the spring.
And for more info on all this, where do we go?
I would go to Panasonic.com. That's the easiest way to find our Lumix products.
Terrific. Matt Frazer, thanks for taking the time with us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Now this. How many companies out there have continued to innovate when it comes to building a better radio? I'm Fred Fishkin, host of Techstination, and I'm here to tell you about the new CC Skywave SSB radio from the wonderful people at C-Crane. Bob and his crew really love radio, and it shows in this new compact model that is packed with features. Beyond great AM and FM reception and sound, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world, listen to ham radio operators, aviation, and more. It's the radio you'll turn to every day, and in emergencies. It will run for nearly 3 days on just 2 AA batteries. Pair the sleep timer with the new Soft Speaker 3, and you've got the perfect radio for your nightstand. Of course, it can wake you up too. Click on C-Crane at Techstination.com and put in the code Techstination for a free flashlight with your order. They love radio, and you'll love C-Crane.